Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 15 of Spy Family. So last time we had a bomb that Anya managed to stop. I mean, granted, technically Wise stopped it. But Anya was the one who left the message for her father. Lloyd was the one who decoded it and figured out something was off. And he got the others to listen to him because, best spy in the business, so people are going to listen to him. And he showed them that it was there, and they took care of it. But Anya actually stopped a bomb. Like, Jesus. It got a lot more intense than I think pretty much anyone would have expected. But not in a bad way or anything, of course. It was well done to where it was believable because of both her and Mr. Dog's abilities. So it allowed them to save the day in a way that, doesn't feel out of place for an 8-year-old girl. But we still have to deal with our bad guys, our terrorists, and especially the attack dog that he has on him, which also has a bomb strapped to him. But Lloyd seems ready to take on that mission, and so we'll see how that ends in this episode, how he takes care of that. I'm very, very interested to see where this goes. I have no idea where this is overall going, but it just feels to me like this is a series that couldn't last too long. I don't know how far ahead it is in the manga, but it's like I don't feel like this series could or even should last too long. I feel like at best this would be good for maybe, since this is a 2 core season, maybe 2 of those. I feel like going any farther than that would just kind of be overstaying its welcome, to be honest. It's like when you hear of a lot of shows, it's like, oh, they lasted too long and they became shit because of it. Stuff like, a lot of people say that about The Simpsons or Family Guy, even though, in my opinion, Family Guy was always shit. But you get the idea. A lot of shows that just last way too long, and because of it, suffer. Because, really, the show had no business lasting that long, and there wasn't enough content or ideas that would work for the series going that long. To the point where they just recycle the same ideas over and over, and it just starts to get boring, and it just loses what made it good and enjoyable in the first place. And the problem is, I could see that happening with Spy Family. This series needs to have a definitive end, and it shouldn't take too long to get to it. Because there's not too much they can do. Yeah, there's extra stuff they can add in to kind of buffer things before we get to the main goal being achieved. And obviously we know at the very end they're going to acknowledge themselves as a true family and stay together. But it's like, we need to get to that sooner than later. We need to get through all the stuff with the school, with getting the Stellas and meeting and convincing Desmond to get that information. All of that stuff, all the important stuff with Operation Strix, all the big character stuff, all of that, the main plot. It's like, you can't stretch that out for too long. It just wouldn't make sense to. It wouldn't work. I don't know, again, I don't know how far ahead the manga is, so I don't know how much, room there is right now for for more content. But I'm really hoping that the mangaka doesn't take it too far and just keeps on throwing random shit until it just starts being bogged down. Because that would be the worst thing for this series. And even with the series being a comedic type of show, it's like even shows like that can feel that kind of, weighted down, just boring feeling if they go too long. The ones I mentioned were comedic shows, Simpsons and Family Guy. And people, again, continuously say that those shows have completely lost what made them special. There might be a good episode here and there, a good joke here and there, but people overall just aren't as into them as they used to be, and much more actively deride them nowadays. It's much more common to find someone complaining about modern Simpsons or modern Family Guy than to find someone actually complimenting it. So I just don't want that to happen to this series. I don't want it to happen to any series, to be honest. There are some shows that can pull it off, but that's very rare. And, like, for example, the only reason One Piece can pull it off is because, one, Oda's writing is phenomenal, and two, the way he writes the story actually lends to it being longer. It actually works better to be longer because of what the story's about, how he writes it, and the structure of the show or manga. The structure actually basically requires it to be longer. It would not work as a shorter series at all. But that's a really rare occurrence. That's a really rare thing. I'd even say it's the only one of the big three that really works that way. I think Naruto and Bleach both lasted too long. And I haven't even seen all of Bleach. And technically I haven't seen all of Naruto, but I know what happens in Naruto and everything. But yeah, both of those I feel like should have been shorter than they were. Just in the main story and in the anime adaptations. There's a lot of stuff that just didn't need to be done. And a lot of stuff that just dragged it on for too long. More so in Naruto than Bleach. Naruto has always felt more bloated. And not just because of the filler. I'm just talking like even the overall canon story has always felt bloated. But there's other examples out there, I'm sure. The point of the matter is that this series is really good. Like, to a point where it surprised me when I first saw it. It surprised me at how good I found it to be. But, again, in order to stay that way, in order to continue to be good, it has to know its limits. And if the manga just kept going and everything, I would not be opposed to the anime having an anime original ending. I know a lot of people get upset by that kind of stuff. But if the manga just keeps going indefinitely, it's like it would be better for the anime to just end it prematurely in an anime original way than to stretch it out and possibly possibly get worse. But, of course, that is all dependent on how the manga gets, too. Because the manga could get worse, the manga could not get worse. Or it might take longer, it might take different times. It just depends. The problem is, again, this is a series that very much feels like it needs to be a definitive series. Like putting on too much of a... Dragging it on too long would just be detrimental to it. It needs to be short enough and definitive enough. I just, again, I really don't see it going past two full two-course seasons. I feel like that would be a mistake, but we'll see. We'll see. Right now, we're only still in the second core of the first season, so we'll see how it goes down. Hopefully things still work out. But we're going to get into this and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So this was very much an aftermath episode of the past couple. Bringing into this, this second core of the season, we were definitely focused on starting off with this basically 3-episode little mini arc here. Introducing us to Bond, as we now know him. And just how he becomes part of the Forger family. So, with this episode, this was just the aftermath of, really, ending things off, capturing Keith, I believe his name is, and just allowing Bond to come home to the family, and Anya to kind of get used to him. So, the first part of this is just, you know, Keith being captured. He's his dog is stopped by Lloyd without being hurt, and he tries to flee, but Yor, while searching for Anya, sees him and stops him, causing him to crash, which allows him to be captured and everything. So after all of that is taken care of, the 3 members of the Forgers meet back up, and although it takes a little more convincing, Anya manages to coerce everyone into letting them keep Bond instead of, you know, getting rid of him or having him taken into custody with the rest of the Bond dogs. So, I like the way she does it too. I love how she's using the mission and the school and everything against them as, like, collateral. It's like if she doesn't get what she wants. And it's like, she's a little kid. She's a little girl. It's like, of course she's going to do shit like that. You don't really hold it against her. It's just kind of cute and funny. So she does that. She manages to convince them, but they still take the dog for the night to check for anything, obviously, considering it was an experiment. He's brought back in the morning, and so Anya now has to learn how to take care of a dog, and that's pretty much what the rest of the episode is about. Her trying to figure out what to name it, as well as trying to figure out how to take care of him and everything. She tries to use the fact that she has a dog now at the school to possibly get Damien to invite her over and everything, part of the plan and all. It doesn't really work out well. But she starts thinking about the name there, and so when they go to a dog park, she starts asking everyone around what their dog's names are and how they decided on it. So she starts thinking about it, starts trying to figure out all these different combinations of things. Um, but eventually, she realizes her gloves are missing. And Mr. Dog um, not only helps find that another dog had found and taken them when presumably Anya dropped them, but it also helps get them back. And so Anya gets her gloves back, and she compares it to a scene from her show, from her spy show, Bond Man. And so she decides to name him Bond, just a shortened version of that, which is very fitting. It's a good name. It's obviously very fitting to the entire spy family style and everything. So yeah, pretty good. And we see her trying to help train him, like to eat the food and everything, because she tries a little bit herself, which is funny. It's like, this is neither good nor bad. And it's like, yeah, that's probably accurate. And then she teaches him to use the box, which again, it's like, considering where they live, that's probably about right. Like I said, for Piper, we just let her out in the backyard. We have a fenced backyard. We let her out, and she does her business out there. Whenever she wants to go out, she'll usually tell us. She'll usually go towards the door and tell us she wants to go out and everything. So we just let her out. She goes, does her business, and when she comes back to the door and like knocks on it, basically scratches on it, we let her back in. So, but with where they're living, that's not really a thing. They don't really have a yard like that. So they could like take him for walks, and like if he did his business, they could have like a bag or something to clean up his mess, which is definitely the right thing to do in that case. But yeah, it's like, I feel like they're just doing what they can and everything, considering the situation. So having a box inside the house makes sense. But yeah, so this episode was, again, it was wrapping up the little mini arc that was starting off this core of the season, as well as just having Anya get used to having Bond in the house and everything now, and how to, properly handle having a dog. So it's all working out, and it was a cute, fun episode. Not really much else to talk about regarding it, though. I enjoyed it. It looked good. There were a couple moments of really good animation that I pointed out. But yeah, it's like there's not really too much else to say in regards to it. But yeah, I had a good time. I had a good time. So let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Spy Family? And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.